What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explained here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And we're going to be continuing to look at the anime because I think that with everything that's going on with this Kara actuation arc and the fact that we're getting to see Boruto and Mitsuki and Sarada interact on a mission that is clearly escalating in terms of rank, and we're seeing them on a real mission with some real stakes, an official mission. I think that now's the time we need to have a discussion about whether or not Boruto, in the time since the Chunin exams and really in the time since the Mitsuki desertion arc, whether or not he's shown enough to warrant being promoted to Chunin. Now, I'm gonna say right now, like, if you just look at what happened in the Mitsuki desertion arc, I don't think that Boruto did enough there in order to warrant being promoted to Chunin, because you could definitely look at what happened there and say that Boruto's actions led the team into situations where if that had been a mission, he could have put their lives at danger. And so I think that when you look at Hozuki Castle, when you look at Mujina Bandits, and now the Kara actuation arc, I think that little small things have been done to make you kind of have that discussion. So the first thing that you have to look at when having this discussion is what exactly does it mean to become a Chunin. So basically, once you become a Chunin, number one, the first thing that they look at is whether or not you have the maturity. And we've seen it in glimpses with Boruto when he's on these missions that Boruto, when the time calls for it, Boruto's able to keep a clear head. I think that one thing we can kind of knock Boruto for in the earlier portions is that he has moments where he allows his emotions or he allows his stubbornness to get in his way. Like, so the very first thing that we can look at is going to be the Mujina Bandits portion. I thought that when you got to the Hozuki Castle portion of that arc, I thought that Boruto handled himself very well there. He had moments where he had some really quick thinking, like when he used that lightning release jutsu in order to escape and in order to save his life, how he was able to discern that Kokiri was actually a good person, and he used Sarada in order to confirm his suspicions. Boruto, as they're fighting against Tsukiyo, Boruto was able to catch on Shojoji's movements. But the fact is that kind of walked back a little bit once we went into the portion of the story that's directly coming from the manga. So Boruto once again decided that he was going to go rogue. He was going to go and do things his way without waiting for anybody else. And we saw that when it came to Tento, the son of the feudal lord, Boruto had a moment where he had information that Tento was in trouble, and he had ample time to run it up the chain of command. This wasn't a situation where he had a hot lead and he had to follow it right then and there. Boruto had time, because if you look at when he was outside the feudal lord's room and he heard that, and when he goes to see Sarada later on in that afternoon, and Sarada's getting ready to go to sleep, she's doing a little bit of training, but she's getting ready to go to sleep in order to essentially get ready for the mission they have in the next morning. Boruto had a moment where he could have told Sarada what's going on. He didn't. He could have went to his sensei Konohamaru. He could have went to Naruto Shikamaru. He could have went to somebody in order to get ample backup, but instead Boruto on his own made the judgment call that he's gonna go after the enemy. He's gonna follow any clues he can find. He's gonna go in by himself. He's gonna rescue Tento. That is the height of arrogance, and it's that stubbornness that if you do something like that, you can get your team killed. That's very similar to what you saw with Neji and Naruto, to where Kotetsu and Izumo, both of them say if they would have been team leaders, they would have got their teams killed. When you look at Boruto made that call to do everything on his own, and that's a classic problem when it comes to prodigy characters like this. This is the same thing that Kakashi struggled with, which was actually having a sense of teamwork. Like if you go back to the Ninja Escapades OVA, where you had Team Minato doing the bell test and you had Rin and Obito working together, but Kakashi, even though Kakashi was skilled enough to hold his own with the suppressed Minato during that whole fight, the fact of the matter is that he probably could have actually grabbed the bells if he worked with his teammates. When it comes to Boruto, his teammates came and they bailed him out at the last minute, because Boruto goes through, he takes care of all those bandits, and then all of a sudden when he has to fight the big boss Shojoji, Boruto's in a situation where he's doing well, but he's also getting pressured. And if he would have had ample backup, he wouldn't have had to worry about protecting Tento, as well as trying to find the weaknesses of his enemy, and then trying to do both of those at the same time while trying to also also defeat the person that he's fighting. And that leads me to the next point, to what's going on in the Kara actuation arc. So as of this recording, the last episode is episode where it's episode 160, where Boruto has a few moments where Konohamaru and Mujino tell him like, hey man, you don't need to do this alone. You don't need to go with this alone. Don't be a hero. And that's exactly what Boruto does. Now, on one hand, you can applaud him and say he saw an opportunity, he took charge, and he should be applauded for that, because that gut instinct is the split-second difference between life or death. And yet at the same time, Boruto put himself in a situation where he had a moment where if that shopkeeper would have had some high-level ninja in there instead of some people that could be taken out by a couple of hits by Boruto, Boruto could have been killed in that moment. Or what if that shopkeeper was actually a ninja? Boruto would have got his shit crushed in at that point. The same thing when you look at what's going on with Boruto once again deciding to act on his own in order to save that small child that was getting beaten on. Now, we can debate all day whether or not he made the right decision to actually save the child and blow his cover. We can debate that, but the fact is once again, he's acting on his own independently of anything that his ranking sensei and the other Jonin, Mujino, who's also a captain on this mission, he's once again superseding their authority and acting on his own. That level of arrogance, that level of, even if it's not intentional, disrespect towards the leadership and not understanding the alignment process, that there's a chain of command you have to run through. The fact that Boruto has that blatant disregard for that authority, that's something that's going to work against him. Now, it'd be a completely different thing if Boruto clearly showed a high level of skill and understanding to where he didn't need to be babysat. But the fact of the matter is that Boruto's still at a point right now in the anime, he's still at a point where he still needs somebody to guide him. That's the whole reason why Sasuke told him, you can't go on missions with me because you're not skilled enough yet. You need more mission experience. Like I've talked about in the video that I have titled Konohamaru's Special Missions, Naruto trusts certain ninja like Konohamaru, Mujino, Sasuke to go on missions either as a two-man team or by themselves. And for Boruto to want to accompany Sasuke, Boruto has to at first show that he's got all the intangibles to being a Chunin. That's mental maturity, that's also the leadership skills to be able to assemble a team, manage the personalities, and make the decisions that don't put your teammates in harm's way, and then have the tactical prowess to be able to adjust and effectively communicate with your teammates what those adjustments are and not go solo. So I'm gonna say I don't think Boruto is quite ready to be Chunin. I think that Boruto needs a little bit more mission experience and needs some more direct hands-on guidance before he can be given that rank. However, I want to know from you guys, what are you guys' thoughts? Do you think that Boruto's clearly shown up to be Chunin? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.